Hi, David.
Hi,
Um,
Anselm.
David Esselstyn
David
or Steen?
vanEsselstyn.
vanEsselstyn. Do you work at Chase Manhattan?
Yep, I work at Chase JP Morgan. It's a company with about 250,000 employees, if you can believe it. I work in a group called Digital Client Experience, which is almost like an agency within the larger company. It's got about 400 people. My group, a little piece of the pie, is in asset and wealth management, and we're about 60 people, probably about 40 designers, a group of user experience researchers. I'm one of about 12 or 15 user experience researchers. And we also have like a copy group, like a writing group. We work together on that. So about 60 people. And
User experience on the web, or is it everything?
yeah, it's a good question. We do web and we do mobile. We also have groups that focus on the branch experience, the experience of actually walking into the branch. And we also more and more have been focusing on the advisor experience. So the experience, because we feel like it's important to problem solve not only the client, but also the financial advisor, making sure that our materials are designed in the same way and sort of complement each other. Typical day has me coming into this office, usually in the morning. It's like check-ins with stakeholders. So people who sort of use our service around the country, but often in New York, who are doing work, making sure that we're on schedule with things. Often during the day, I'll have one or several interviews, like you're doing an interview with me. Often I'll interview an advisor or client. Sometimes we'll have people coming in for usability testing labs downstairs. Often I'll meet with designers and sort of go over plans for design or review designs. And then an atypical day, but a good day, would be going into the field and doing research. So a lot of travel to talk to different advisors and clients across the country.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a fun job.
So you get to travel sometimes.
Get to travel a pretty good amount, and it's important. Either we'll be traveling, sometimes a group of us will travel to do research together. Sometimes we'll do ethnography and just kind of go and understand what it is to be in a branch, or understand what it is to be an advisor and sort of shadow them for the day. And that just helps us better understand and design for their needs. I have, in my career, designed some, but more and more, my background is more as a researcher, and I've found more and more that, to be frank, it's been harder and harder as I get older to keep up with the young designers with the new tools and everything like that.
Oh, really?
We go to work
so there's
all
a
night.
chance for young designers to come
I'd say
in.
so, yeah.
And what motivates you to come do a job?
I would say I think of design as problem solving, and I really like to solve problems. I feel like I had a father who's very innovative, sort of an inventor or a tinkerer, and I think I learned a lot by watching him sort of solve problems almost as a hobby, and I found that no matter what job I have, I like to explore and understand the problems and then sort of help solve them. I had a lot of different interests. In college, I bounced around through a number of different majors. Ended up actually with 3 majors in biology, English, and environmental studies. And then I moved to the Bay Area in the early 90s. I remember picking up the first Wired magazine. I still have it, like 1992 or something like that. And I was very interested in doing something with computers. I was always very good with computers. I talked to a lot of people in the field of computer science, and then found somebody that was in the field of educational technology, so building software for education, like Scholastic. But I really found like developing software was what I enjoyed doing. I found it to be very creative and rewarding, fun. It's a lot of companionship and teamwork. It's complicated and just interesting. And so I left sort of academia and teaching to go into usability testing, and then had a number of different fields around usability testing, sort of converging into design, and now sort of back into research. But yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way. It's been a really rewarding career, every job I've had. I found my biggest value add is more and more I'm coming up to this framework of research is more understanding the problem and articulating it, and design is maybe addressing the problem and coming up with solutions. And I feel like, there's a continuum. It's not always that neat, but more and more, even here at JP Morgan, it's more through these interviews and this field work, a matter of articulating and understanding the business problems or the user experience problems and working with designers to set up a framework. So it's much, it's not just visual design or screen design, it's really designing a whole service to meet somebody's needs in an integrated way that meets the business needs. So I'd say the big thing is, I think one of the neat things about that is there are no great tools for doing that holistically. So often, I don't know, if you look around us, there's people coming up with sort of lots of sort of ad hoc ways to sort of articulate those problems, and it's very inventive. I feel like that's really cool because it's not just like, I think tools like Sketch and Envision are very powerful, but they become a little bit like a cookie cutter, like a little bit of a framework, like you know exactly what's going to come out of them after a while. Design not only for the screen or even the service, but sort of designing almost like company-wide, addressing business problems through design. Portfolio?
Yeah, actually that's also a big question because nobody knows really what a UX portfolio looks like.
I could tell you. So for a UX portfolio, we see a lot of people come in. I always like to see in a UX portfolio somebody coming in being able to describe sort of the research and the problem that they're trying to solve, and then walk through almost in a journal-like way of the way that they tried to come up with a solution. It's not always the solution that I measure, and this is true during an interview too. We'll actually often give people a problem to solve, like design an alarm clock or something like that. I'm not necessarily looking for the best alarm clock design, but I'm just looking for somebody that's thoughtful or being able to create, solve a problem and think through it, like to watch their thought process, design process. The same thing in the UX portfolio, something that's not just the design itself, but sort of annotates or uncovers a bit of the thinking and process behind some of the great portfolios I've seen in my life. And afterwards, when I compliment on them, they'll often say, "Oh, I'm just obsessed with like my self-documentation, like keeping track of my own processes." But often I find those some of the best designers to work with are people who are sort of able to articulate their design process and the decisions they made that